Hi students, this is the last chapter of the semester, capitalization, and you know that capitalization is a piece of cake. You know this rule from grade 1, so you will not face any problem in using the rules of capitalization. So this chapter presents 7 main capitalization rules. You can study the examples for each rule. You can make or you can suggest other examples related to the rules of capitalization. Okay, so um, let's move to page 312, and you have to know that the main objects of the main objectives the main objectives of this chapter are to correct errors in capitalization in paragraphs, to correct errors in capitalization and sentences. You have you can see that each rule is labeled by 10A, 10B, 10C, so it's easy to identify the rules. Okay. Now let's move to the first rule here. Capitalize the first word in every sentence, and you are familiar with this rule. You know that when you write any sentence, you have to start with capital. For example, the second after the word, so you have to start with capital R. Let's move to quotations. You know that if you write any quotation, you have to start with capital letter in quotations. Just focus on the underlined statements. And also in poem, when you write a poem, you have to start each line with a capital letter, start with a little, okay? Let's move to rule 10b. Capitalize the pronoun I. You know that you have to keep I capital in any writing, okay? For example, the first line I read, I finished, okay? Whatever the location of I at the beginning or middle or end, you have to of course it will not come at the end of the sentence, but if you use I, you have to keep it capital. Let's move to the interjection O. Okay, you have to know that O is used for invocations, for calling. For example, I say oh, for example, Henry. So when you use O, you have to keep it capital. Okay, and there is difference between O, this one, and O as interjection. You know that O here is an interjection, okay, and you have to use, or it's followed by an exclamation point or comma. When you use O, this one with H, you have to use it with comma or exclamation point. But O here, okay, you have to use it for invocations, and you have to keep it capital, okay? Let's move to another rule. Capitalize the first word and salutation and the closing of letter. You know that when you use in letters, yours, you have to start with capital letter. Capitalize proper nouns and proper adjectives. You know proper nouns. Proper nouns are specific names like Dahlia, for example, Ahmed, Ali, okay, Dickens. Proper nouns like France, for example, Venus, the Midwest. So you have to use capital letter. Proper adjectives like Dickensian character, Shakespearean character, for example, French bread. These words are proper adjectives, so you have to keep them capital. Let's move to another rule here. Move to page 314. Look at these words. These words, okay, these words are proper, okay, but you have to focus that these words lose their capitals, okay, after long use, okay. And you know that these words are proper, so you have to use them in capital. You have to write them and you have to use capital letters, right? But after long use, you have to keep the letters small. Like diesel, bologna. Bologna means cooked sausage. For example, braille and what. So these words, okay, are written without capitalization. Okay, so focus on them. Diesel, bologna, braille, and what. Let's move to another rule: capitalize the names of persons and animals. You know that all persons' names should be capitalized, but just focus on animals. Not all animals, okay, should be written in capitalization or use capitalization when you write them. Just some kinds of animals, some special kinds like rover, fox, babe, but don't write dog with capital letter or lion or tiger. No, just these words. Focus on these words because these words or these animals have specific names like classy, babe, socks, rover, fluff. Okay. Capitalize initials or beginning names and abbreviations like these doctor, for example, Mr. So you have to write them with capital letter. Okay, let's move to another rule, page 316. Capitalize geographical names, countries, towns and cities, counties, states, regions, for example, continents, islands, mountains, but focus on this note. When you use directions like west, north, south, okay, in this case, if you use directions to indicate direction, so you have to use them or you have to write them without capitalization, like west of the bridge or heading north. So there's no need to make them capital, okay? Let's move to the next page. And also you have to capitalize bodies of water, parks, forests, roads, highways, and streets. But look at this note. Just guys, focus on the notes. You know that street number. Okay, when you write street number like this, okay, with hyphenated or with a hyphen, okay, look at this hyphenated street number. If you use street number, the first number or the first letter should be capitalized, okay? The second number should be written in a small letter, okay? So F capital, T small. 62nd Street, for example, capital, small, okay? Look at the proper nouns, okay? And you know that city, island, river, street, okay? If they don't take proper nouns, you have to write them without capitalization. For example, large city, but here we have a proper noun, Mexico City. So in this case, you have to make it capital. Okay, Captivo Island. Okay, this is the name of the island, so capital C, capital I. But look at this one. There's no name before it. Okay, Ohio River, capital, capital. But here we don't know the name of the river, so you have to keep it small. Okay, let's move to the next page. Okay, page 319. You know, it's pretty easy, so I will just focus on the rules themselves. Capitalize the names of organizations, teams, institutions, government ways, business products, okay, like Zara, for example. Okay, let's next page. Focus here on buildings, structures, monuments, okay. You can focus here on historical events and periods, special events, the names of words, calendar, holidays, items, okay? So you can look at these charts. Just look at seasons. You know the 4 seasons. Do not capitalize the name of season unless the season is being personified. For example, look at the first one. We look forward to spring after the long winter. And you know that winter and spring are seasons. But look at example 3, for example. Are you going to Wonderland dance? And here in this case, winter is a proper noun, so you have to write it in with capitalization. Next page. Capitalize the name of nationalities, races, peoples, like Italian, for example. Religions, holidays, okay, like Ramadan, holy writing like Bible or Quran, specific deities, deities, guys, which means God, okay. Let's move to the capitalize the names of ships, trains, and aircrafts and spacecrafts. Okay, move to the next page. Just focus on the underlined statements. Capitalize the names of planets, stars, okay, heavenly bodies, you know, the planets and galaxy. Just look at this note. The word earth. The word earth is not capitalized unless it's used along with the name of another heavenly body. Okay, now look at the first example. Unlike Earth, neither Mercury or Venus has a moon. We have here other bodies in space. So in this case, you have use Earth, okay, with capital. But look at this case. There's no need because you don't mention other planets. And you have to know that the words sun and moon are not capitalized at all. Don't capitalize the school subjects like math, science, never capitalize them, just in one case. If they are followed by numbers. Algebra, you have to write it small, but if it's followed by a number like algebra 1 or algebra 2 or chemistry 1, so in this case you have to make it capital. If they are followed, so if the school subjects are followed by numbers, you have to capitalize the first letters. But if they don't, if they are not followed by numbers, you have there's no need to capitalize the first letter. Okay, let's move to the next pages. Page 326, guys. Capitalize the person's titles like general, president, queen. If the titles, okay, if the titles come before the person's names, so you can capitalize, okay. But if the titles come without person's names, there's no need to make capital. For example, look at this case: the president of the Russian Federation. There's no name, so you have to keep the first letter small, okay. But look at the first one, President Kennedy. President Kennedy. So in this case, you have to make a capital. Okay. Let's move to family relationships like aunt, uncle, cousin. The same thing here. Uncle Fred. If the family relationships, okay, come before the person's name, you have to write or you have to capitalize the first letter. For example, Uncle Fred. But if you use uncle without a name, you have to write or you have to, or you don't have to capitalize the first letter. Okay. Let's move to titles. When you write titles of books or chapters or poems or short stories, these are the rules of writing titles. Number one, if the title starts with articles, you can write articles with capital letters. But if you mention articles in the middle of the title, there is no need to make or to use capital letters. Okay, articles, conjunctions like and, but, for, nor, or, so, yet, and short prepositions fewer than 5 letters. These are the rules of using titles. So don't capitalize articles, conjunctions, and short prepositions. Look at this example. This is the title of a book, Songs of Teo. Capital, but look at the article and the preposition. Okay, they have small letters. Okay, but if you use articles at the beginning of the title or the prepositions at the beginning of the title, you can. Okay, so again, guys, if you start, okay, you have to know something, that if the title starts with these words, okay, you can capitalize them. But if they come in the middle, no, you have to use small letters. Okay, next page. Musical works, series, videos, you have to start with capital letters and you know the titles, and you can follow the same rules of titles. Let's move to the last pages of this chapter. Abbreviations. You know abbreviations, short forms like Miss, General. Okay, you know that when you write or use abbreviations, you have to start with capital letter. Okay, and also in addresses like for example, post office, avenue, street, room, apartment, you have to start with capital letters. And you know some organizations and business. Move to page 331, and you know that Some proper nouns are often abbreviated to a series of capital letters without periods, like NASA, GM. You know, these words, you have to write each one, each letter with capitalization, like television, also here, vice president, DNA. And look at the abbreviations of most common nouns with or without periods are not capitalized, like pages, small lines, okay, transitive verbs, abbreviation, inches. You have to write these words. So just focus or study these charts and focus on them for your final exam.